Life, culture and current events from a biblical perspective. 2020 with Neil Johnson on Vision.
Our next guest was instrumental in the establishment of the Indigenous Police Recruitment Our Way delivery program. It's a training model to develop First Nations Australians for a career with the New South Wales Police Force. Now, it came about when Peter Gibbs, after the tragic death of his sister in police custody in 1997, was faced with a choice: to respond with violence or to find a deeper purpose. Peter Gibbs is preparing to tell his incredible faith story at the upcoming National Prayer Breakfast in Canberra. And he's joining us now. Peter, welcome along to 2020.
Oh, bless you for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Peter, you're a Gamilaroi man from the community of Wheel Maringal in New South Wales. Give us a little bit of your background before we hear the story about your sister.
Yes, Wheel Maringal is just a tiny dot on the map in northwestern New South Wales. I'm from the Gamilaroi people. That's my grandmother's family, and we settled on the banks of the Darling River. And it's a very small little community built on the back of agriculture. So all of my family, they're all the shearers and fencers. There are people who've built their history in the agricultural industry. So I'm born in the wool industry, raised in the outback, and so influential. And my grandmother was so influential in my life with her Christian heritage.
No doubt there's been challenges you can identify, perhaps even through your whole life, but things took a dreadful twist when your sister died in police custody. I wonder if you can take us into that story.
Just one of those awful tragedies in many of our lives, and most of us have suffered, enormous tragedy. And that crossroad in my life was when my sister died in police custody in Brewarrina. Brewarrina is another small community not far from Wheel Maringal. It's the major centre. It's a town less than 2,000 people. So it's a little town we're very familiar with, and we basically were born there as well because of the main hospital. So we have a long history in that little community. And to know that my sister has died in police custody, locked up for drunkenness in 1997, brings such a shock and to your system. And for me, I was the eldest of 4 children. I'll never forget it for the rest of my life, mate.
Mm-hmm. It's a tragic story, and one, no doubt, you've wrestled with so far as your faith in God goes. And when you're in those dark places and you lose a family member like your sister, that must have been a particularly difficult time for you, faith-wise, but even emotionally.
Well, the emotions, I don't know how we can deal with these sorts of things. And for some reason, this happened to us, and it's things that you read about, and it's things that you hear about, and you don't expect that it'll come to your door. But as we know, it will. And those times have shaped me as a man, shaped me as a father, as a leader in the community, and has certainly shaped my faith in the Lord. And it's embedded in my life now that without the Lord, I know that I'm nothing.
I mentioned that choice. You could have responded with violence, or you could have sought a deeper purpose in your sister's death. I know that a lot of your brothers and sisters in your tribal background have decided to respond in some ways actively, and oftentimes with violence as well. But you've decided to seek a deeper purpose in all of that. I wonder if you can describe that for us.
Well, it took a few years, and when we were confronted with that opportunity to in many words, I can still hear resonating in my ear today, it was to burn Brewarrina to the ground. And when my dad and I decided that wouldn't be the case after Fiona's death, that we would find something else. more positive outcome from her tragedy. And we didn't know what that was going to be. But after a couple of years, it became really clear that I could assist Aboriginal people to become police officers, that we would get more Aboriginal police officers into the outback. So my vision at that time was to just get Aboriginal people into the police force and to come and work in the western parts of New South Wales, so that through that we would build better understanding, improve relationship between our people and the police, and obviously in the long term prevent people from going into the police system and then preventing deaths in custody. That was the way in which I envisaged this to be. But the Lord had a bigger plan, and it's been going now for well over 15 years. It took me 10 years to get it to first base, but after that it's just blossomed, and it's now all over New South Wales, and with potential to go national. And we are very proud as a family, obviously, for what's happened with the iProud program, but our legacy will never ever be forgotten.
And an idea like that, just coming from somewhere, let's assume, I'm going to assume that it's a divinely inspired idea, but the formation of the Indigenous Police Recruitment Our Way delivery program, this is something you're seeing as something God-given.
Absolutely. My little mind, what I think, and would I actually have a faith that this could be realised. It's only God, and God is in everything with his hand on my life. And everything I've touched since then, it's just been amazing transformation of my life, the amazing transformation in my family, and to be able to seek forgiveness and to be able to forgive the New South Wales Police is a process that I've gone through as well. And I'm a changed person because of what God has done in my life, and I wanted to be able to use that and to work to a point of forgiveness of New South Wales Police, and I've done that. And it's been an amazing journey, and to now see that the former police commissioner in New South Wales was a Christian, and I didn't realise that at the time as well. And he and I travelled that journey together, and we're amazingly great friends now. And he has supported the iProud concept throughout his term as the New South Wales Police Commissioner, a man of God, a man who believes that from tragedy we can have positiveness. And he believed in me from the time he met me. He could see that this was real, but he could also see it was achievable. And he also, through his leadership and God in his life, that we've been able to work together. So God has brought myself into his pathway, and he's into mine. And look what's happened, because two men of God stood up in whatever realms we were in, and the iProud program is there now, and it'll never, ever be taken away.
Peter, you're going to be the keynote speaker for the National Prayer Breakfast that's coming up. Will you have a specific message for political leaders who'll be there on the day?
My simple message is that God alone, that God will bring reconciliation to our people. God is the answer for all of our lives, and I pray for every day for our political leaders, because I think the challenges are there before them, but they must not lock God out of their decision making. And it's so important for Christian leadership at this time of instability in our country, internationally, but certainly here in our own little communities, where there is such violence and the separation of families and the incarceration rates of our families. It is worse now than it's ever been in history. And so I know that the answer is only God alone, and to not lock Christianity out. And that would be something that I'll be challenging the gathering there in just a short time.
Well, for 2,000 years, Christians have been able to traverse those racial differences because of this uniting factor that comes in through Jesus himself. And he is above all race. Now, for the first time ever, Peter, the National Prayer Breakfast is going to be available on a live stream, and people all over the nation are being encouraged to get their groups and churches and wider community together to be a part of it. What's your encouragement for communities, and some of those in Aboriginal communities listening to our conversation today? What's your encouragement for people to actually live stream this big event that's going to be on?
Please, I take every opportunity. What a wonderful occasion that we can join up virtually, and we can celebrate what God has done and what God is doing in our lives and in our country, and pray for our critical leadership. And this is the time that we can all join in, so even if it's virtually. But if I've got a message, my message is that it's God alone, and forgiveness. If you are dealing with unforgiveness, there is only one way to be able to deal with that. I've tried everything to deal with the unforgiveness, and it was only through Christ that I was able to deal with that. And I know that through the message that I'll share, I want that to come through. That has been the most difficult time of my life as a man, as a father, as a husband, and as a brother. And without Christ, I would not have been able to achieve any of it. Without Christ, I am nothing. And I want that message to be loud and clear.
Peter, I'm humbled, and I'm sure so many of our listeners will be humbled just hearing your approach to these sorts of issues. The National Prayer Breakfast is going to bring together members of Parliament, senators, and other civic leaders, along with people of faith within the community. And for listeners who want to be a part of this as a live stream event, this is going to be on Monday the 28th of November. It's the 33rd Australian Prayer Breakfast. It's to be held at Parliament House. It's on Monday the 28th of November. You can register early for the live stream from Parliament House. The live stream will be starting at 7:15 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time. And the website to go to register to be a part of the National Prayer Breakfast is nationalprayerbreakfast.org. That's nationalprayerbreakfast.org. Peter Gibbs, going to be the keynote speaker at the National Prayer Breakfast. Peter, you're an inspiration. Thank you so much for sharing your heart with us today on 2020.
Bless you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.